Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Six Rings King Show on a new night, Monday night now, baby. We're really excited, actually, to have Eric McLean on the show here, college football analyst, co-host of The Huddle. Coach, yes! All right!
First touchdown of the year.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a six-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ, break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the six-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards of Hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the Six Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Yo. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Six Rings pregame show. It's Vish, Jazz, and Larry Bluestein right there, baby. He's just went back in time. This is a young Larry. No, it's John from Cafecito and Canes. What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
What's up? We're in person.
Yeah, doing good. A little nervous for today, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, by the way, we are live at Miller's Ale House here in Palmetto Bay. So if you're checking us out and you live in the area, come by, man. Have a beer with us.
Or several, depending on how this game goes.
Or several. Chances are it's going to be
it might be a little bit more. There's liquor too. There's, as Evan always says, Margs on tap.
Margs on tap.
Jazz's
Shout
favorites.
out to Moni.
Jazz's favorite slogan there.
Oh man. Hey, all right, so it's Clemson, right? Clemson week playing the what are they? The number 9 team in the country right now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people think that this is not a great Clemson team, but look, at the end of the day, we're talking about a 9-1 team either way. So this is a very good program. Some big time players on that team on both sides of the football. You obviously have that strong front four with Murphy, right? Murphy, Breesy. You've got some guys on Simpson. In the front seven, right? That's a tough defense. But then on the other side of the football, you've got guys like running back Will Shipley, Moffitt. The quarterback situation, I think, is the biggest question mark for them. Is Uiagalelei going to, come out and dominate a football game, or is he going to get pulled for Cade Coupling, the 5-star quarterback recruit? So, talk to me a little bit, guys, what your thoughts are about this game and how you can see an opportunity for Miami to keep it close into the fourth quarter. And, look, bottom line is this is going to be a tough one for Miami to pull out, right? I mean, we're playing Alabama. We're playing, a big-time program right now where Miami is in the process of getting to where Clemson is. Talk to me a little about the opportunity for them to come out and upset Clemson today.
Well, you said it. It's an opportunity. And, look, we've seen crazier upsets in college football, right? We've seen much crazier upsets. So would it shock me if we pull it off? No. But I'm not expecting it, but I would, like always, I'd love to see a competitive game. The way it can happen is if we have to be physical enough to move some bodies up front and be able to run the football. If we can run the football and get into a groove running the football, we have a chance. It's that simple.
Yeah. I think that at the end of the day, I just wanted, by the way, to make sure if there's any echo. We're good, right?
Sure.
We're good.
I texted
if
you.
anything,
I said,
this microphone will pick you up.
I said no. So, I texted you back. All right, well, behind the curtain. Yeah, we're worried about all this stuff here. I actually can't hear out of these headphones because it's my mic coming in, which I was stupidly yelling at me. I was like, the audio's not
live show, everyone.
Yeah. Oh, well. It's our normal production quality. So,
yeah.
Vish, John mentioned the running game, right? I think it's going to be important. We've got apparently got Don Chaney back in the action today. So that's exciting because
Yes,
I
sir.
think if we all kind of look back, we thought that Don Chaney might be the best back on this team.
Mhm.
We're excited about Trevante Citizen for next year, but this year, Don Chaney obviously hasn't played yet. He's been hurt. It's the story of his career so far here. So if he can get it back on the field and kind of give us a little bit of a lift in the backfield, um, our chances to keep it close and to be competitive, I think, go up a little bit if we can hold on to the football and keep, Will Shipley and that Clemson offense off the field.
Yeah, it's got to be one of those games where you slow it down, eat the clock, keep the score down, because we just don't have the offense to score a lot of points. So, yeah, having an extra running back of Cheney's quality all of a sudden there is huge. Could be a huge impact. Because even last week, Knighton was awesome, but when we had to spell him, there was a significant drop off, and then he got hurt, and the offense kind of died in the third quarter because we couldn't run the ball anymore. So, having Chaney there is big difference. There shouldn't be a drop off, when you go down the depth chart, which is big because, Stanley's done a great job, all things considered, but this is another caliber player, and so when you can go to him instead, that should help to sustain the running, because as John said, we got to run the ball.
Yeah.
There's no way we're going to win if we don't run effectively.
Well, I think it's important also to understand that this Clemson team, they're going to key in on Jakari Brown, right? We know that he's going to start today. TBD is out again, but I think it's important for Jakari to be able to do more, just run the football, right? They're going to have to, be more confident in him throwing the ball, because if you become one-dimensional against Clemson, chances are you're done, right? You're going to be done early. You're going to be done quick. So you got to be able to mix it up, change things around a little bit. Josh Gaddis is going to have to – that's funny to say, right? But Josh Gaddis is going to have to figure out a way to be a little more exotic in his play calling and get the ball out of his hands quick, and the receivers are going to have to make some plays. Because if you just key in on the run, that's all you do is run, then you're going to be in for a long day against that Clemson.
But I would say Jakari's very good at getting the ball out. He's got a quick release. When he makes a decision, the ball comes out. So I think he's got really good pocket presence. So I think he'll probably, and he's obviously a big run threat. So I think he'll probably be less susceptible to taking hits and taking sacks than, especially I think Garcia is still trying to get his feet wet, and trying to really get comfortable in the pocket.
Right.
And we should shout out in the chat our boy Evan. Hey man, he's our unofficial official host here. So yes, this is Evan is the manager here at O House, also friend of all of Jazz and my shows. So he hooked us up today. So yeah, as Jazz said earlier, if you're by the Miller's Ale House across from the Falls, stop by.
And if I could chime in really quick on Jakari, there's something I noticed with him, and I don't know if you guys believe in this. I do. There are some quarterbacks that, for whatever reason, teams just tend to rally around them. I don't know why. I can't explain why. I was listening to DJ Williams' Dime Life podcast the other day, and he was talking about the years he was with Tebow in Denver. And he was like, man, he'd be 1 for 15 going into the fourth quarter. He's like, don't worry, guys, I got you. And we all believed him. And that's kind of the vibe I got watching Jakari last week. The defense flew around and made plays all game long. Like, they did not let up. That's something I haven't seen all year. The O-line was blocking better. Everybody upped their game. I feel like I had a different confidence with Jakari under center. I'm like, I think we're going to be all right. And sure enough, we were. So I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, he's wiser beyond his years, for sure, 100%. I think that the way that he commands, he actually does, right? He commands the pocket. He makes defenses second guess what they're going to do, because not only can he run, but he can break tackles, right? He can make people miss, and that's important when you run the football, right? It's not just about being able to run people over, but or get 5-6. No, but he can make people miss. He's versatile.
Yeah.
He might be the best runner on this team, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And then you add the element of he's got a rocket arm, so I'm not worried about him throwing the ball down the field. Yeah, he does have to work on his accuracy, and maybe throwing some guys open, especially with this wide receiver core, right? Like, these guys are going to get open at times, but they're also going to have to be thrown open, right? If that makes any sense, right? Some of these guys just can't get the separation. So, and for one reason or another, they're not doing that. So Jakari's going to have to make those plays. And to your point, I think that if everybody rallies around him, I mean, this could change the mindset of every single player, wide receivers, offensive linemen, everybody. And so that's going to be huge for the success of the offense. I know we haven't talked about defense, and we will, but for the offense, I think you bring up a great point. For the offense to be successful, for us to score points, you got to believe in Jakari Brown. You got to rally around him, and I think that if they do that, it's going to be fun to watch today.
Yeah, and you mentioned, kind of a transition. The defense too, as John mentioned, is DJ Williams saying this, right? The defense also, when you believe in your quarterback, it energizes the defense too. It makes the defense better. And in this game in particular, they gotta hold Clemson down, because there's no way if this game starts like the Florida State game, it's over. Like, everything we're saying is predicated on the game being close, so they can be patient with the running game. You mentioned Jakari can make a few plays with his arm, and those will be the decisive plays. Mm-hmm. Whereas, if you're down a couple of touchdowns, all of a sudden, even if you hit a 70-yard touchdown pass, all right, you're still down, right? And it's just, and we just don't have that many plays to score off of. So being able to stick with the running game, especially the way Knight was running last week, if you can, grind out yards that way. But all of that depends on the defense holding down Clemson's offense and not giving up a lot of points, because last week we were able to stick with the running game too, because Georgia Tech wasn't scoring. The defense was great, right? And so you can just be patient with it, allow it to work, wear the other team out. And the one thing Clemson, they're obviously really good. They have turned it over quite a lot this year. Yep. And that's going to be key for the defense to just, keep them out of the end zone, force turnovers, and keep the point total down. And that'll allow the offense then to kind of grow into the game. Because that Florida State game, I mean, whatever the game plan was, it was over in the first quarter, right? I mean, once it was 14-3, you're like, there's no coming back right now. Right, you could feel it. The air went out of the building, all that. Like, you got to avoid that.
I knew it was over.
Yeah, really, almost the first possession, right? You knew when they hit that deep ball, you're like, oh, I know how this is going to go, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone, the air came out of the building, and you can't have that, right? As long as you're in the game, get it to halftime, like one score, then you're right in there. You can continue to stick with your game plan. Because the one thing this team cannot do is like win a game 49-45 or something. That's not going to happen.
No, this team is not going to come up from behind and win a football game. So, I mean, and when I say that, I mean, be down 3 touchdowns, you know what I mean? If we're down a field goal, it's a different story. But I don't know, John, what does this offense, I guess I don't want to go into it yet. I want to talk about that a little bit at the end. So let's kind of flip it over to the defense. This defense played really good last week. Mm-hmm. They've had some games where they show that, regardless of whether it's Georgia Tech or Virginia or Clemson or Texas A&M, right? At the beginning of the season, Texas A&M ranked 6th in the country. I mean, they played like a big-time defense. Yeah. What does Miami have to do to kind of – because for me, it's about stopping Will Shipley and Moffitt. If you can get Uiagalelei in passing situations more often than not, I think there's an opportunity, like Vish said, to create turnovers, to make some negative plays. And I think that's what that defense needs to do in order to be able to be successful today, right? Yeah. And what's it going to take? Are you looking at a specific group of defense or just the defense as a whole to kind of get this game to the fourth quarter where they're keeping it close or they're winning?
Right. Well, first of all, I'll say 2 things. First thing is communication, specifically with the secondary. I think we lost at least 2 games because teams kept hitting us with that same bomb, that same play where they set someone in motion, safety follows them, all of a sudden DJ Ivy's in an island by himself. You just got to get a step on him, and it's touchdown. Middle Tennessee beat us like that. UNC had a touchdown, and that ended up being a very close game. I think we lost at least 2 games because of that one play. Communicate with each other. It seemed like they figured it out last week because every time they tried it, we picked it off. So it worked, and Cam Kinchins looks like the best safety in America right now. So keep communicating, keep finding your groove. It seems like they're starting to do that finally. And second thing is if I'm Kevin Steele, I know he hasn't done it a lot this year. That's the one criticism I've had of him. He hasn't sent much of a blitz. He's depended more on the D-line, and I get it. If your D-line can get to the quarterback, awesome. But there's going to be times where in today's college football, you got to send the blitz in there. You got to rattle him, especially in a game like this. I want to see Steele take a few more chances.
Look, Vish, this is a team that hasn't lost at home in 6 years. So, I mean, you're talking about a whole class and a half, I guess, right? 4 years and then another 2. They haven't lost at home. So you've got that right there. Obviously, that's an issue, right? Clemson is really good at home. Julian Galele, believe it or not, has been pulled, and I was hearing this on the radio, been pulled 7 times out of his 25 starts his whole career. And he still managed to go 20-5 in those 25 starts. Still a good quarterback, okay? Obviously not the quarterback that we saw his freshman year, but he's still very talented. And then you've got a 5-star guy behind him in Cade Klubman. But as you mentioned, right, they're susceptible to throwing interceptions and fumbling the ball. And there's times on the other side of the football from Clemson that you can actually run on them, right? They've given up 200 yards rushing twice this year, and I think 150 3 times. They're still pretty good at defending the run, but they still have given that up. Okay, this is not the same Clemson team that we faced with Deshaun Watson and with Trevor Lawrence, but they're still a damn good football team. So going back to the defense for Miami, what does Miami need to do to not get in that position where we're losing 56-8, whatever it was that year, 38-3, whatever, like those, we can't get into that game. The minute we start getting into that type of game, we're done, right? If we're gonna wait till the second quarter or third quarter to score some touchdowns and keep it close, we're done. What does Miami have to do from the defensive side to kind of keep this game close into the fourth quarter?
Yeah, no, I mean you touched on some things. John touched on them as well. Like obviously turnovers can. Where the hell's Evan? Evan, where are you on this? There's background noise now. But,
yeah, Evan. You gotta call Sarah.
He's watching, so
Evan, call Sarah.
Just with you. Yeah. So obviously the shortcut is turnovers, right? You force turnovers, but outside of that, it's negative plays, forcing some negative plays, and getting off the field on 3rd and 4th and long. That's been the biggest problem this defense has had this year. They've actually been much better on 1st and 2nd down. So you got to get the offense off schedule, force negative plays. They do that really well, and then they give up the 3rd and 15. Yeah. Sometimes the 4th and 15, right? And that's
a discipline thing.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah, it's an uncanny thing. So that's the big thing. They get into these long yardage, and they're much better last week. So and some of that was definitely the quality of the quarterbacks, Georgia Tech was throwing out there. But getting those long, got to get off the field. You cannot give up those long yardage conversions, including quarterback runs, right? All of that, containing all of that. Because the front 7 has been really good, and they've done a good job of containing teams on 1st and 2nd down, but just the 3rd down defense has been really bad. And that's how they extend drives and score on us. So to me, that's kind of the other thing. Other than, turnovers is obvious. If you force a lot of turnovers, you're going to be fine. But outside of that, getting off the field. When there's opportunities to make those plays and get off the field, you got to do it. You cannot – Clemson's not going to give you that many opportunities. There might be once or twice a drive where you have an opportunity to get off the field. If you don't, they're going to be in the end zone.
I think I'm going to go one further than you when it comes to forcing turnovers. I think it's not going to be enough just to force a turnover. I think you've got to capitalize and get points out of it.
Oh, yeah.
If you're just causing turnovers and you're 3 and out, your best weapon gets on the field and flips the field, but you're still giving away opportunities to score points. Whether it's a field goal, whether it's a touchdown, I think that Mario Cristobal and this whole staff has to be really. They have to be really careful with how they call a game, right? Because essentially you can be a little aggressive, right? Go for it on 4th down, take shots on 3rd and short, 2nd and short. Right. But I think what's important is that if you have an opportunity to get points, you got to go and get points. And that starts with capitalizing off of turnovers. You got to get turnovers, obviously, in order to score points off of turnovers. But I think you have to go one step further. You have to get some points off turnovers.
1,000%. Yeah, you can't. Like last time we played Clemson, I don't know if you remember, we blocked that field goal, took it back for a touchdown. going into the half, it was 21-10, I think. And then we forced a fumble and got the ball back. And then De'Ara King throws a bomb into the end zone. It gets picked off. I knew kind of watching that game. I was like, damn, that was our chance. And it was, I forgot which receiver it was, but he was like trying to draw a flag instead of going up and going for the damn ball. That's killer instinct that we need to get more of. But anyway, we need to capitalize. Any chance like that we get, like a fumble or something unexpected, it's like we have to turn that into 7. You have to.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of want to turn to something else. I mean, it has to do with the game also. But look, this whole week, there's been a lot of controversy, right? With some of the players announcing that they're going to enter the transfer portal, and you've got some other stuff on social media where some of the players, parents, all this whole hoopla of what's going on there. And I won't get into specifics with that. But now and I know this is normal for college football all over the place, but how much is, knowing that some of these players, guys like it's not a secret that Franklin has entered the transfer portal now. Keyshawn Smith did not travel. He hasn't announced it yet, but the writing's on the wall. You got Gil Frierson, who's obviously announced as well. So some of these guys are players that have been there for a long time. Gil Frierson, I love Frierson. Mm-hmm. I think that he had a position on this team.
Yeah, he's a little bit different. Yeah, in terms of he's the one that on the field might actually impact.
Right. He's the one that I think you relied on the most to make any plays.
He was actually getting snaps, so he's the one that might actually that we might have someone else playing instead of.
My question is, how does all of this, if any, how does it affect this team with a big game like this? Does it really matter? Does Mario kind of get in that locker room and tell them, kind of not to worry about that? Because he came out and he made a statement as well, right? And a lot of us are like, yeah, that's Mario. We love it. But at the same time, how does that affect this team moving forward? Does it do it in a positive way, in a negative way? Any of you guys can chime in on that.
It depends who sees the field. If it's kind of like last week where it's some of the younger guys getting a chance who have earned that playing time.
Right.
Because you might complain, oh, this guy didn't get playing time. This guy didn't. Yeah, but what about all the other guys? We saw Markeith Williams out there. Like we had barely seen him all season.
We see why he was out there.
He laid some dude out. Yeah. And he still needs to put on a good 20 pounds, and he still laid him out. Like Markeith, don't sleep on him. And then, you got Inez Cooper, who's a 3-star guy, not a highly rated dude, but he's like, 6'6", 340, something like that. He's doing a great job. And, Jaleel had his first touchdown. It's, a lot of positives. And you see kind of a youth movement. The freshmen and the transfers are making the most plays. And Cam Kinchins was a sophomore. So, yeah, if those guys keep seeing the field, they're going to rally around each other. They know they're the future. And we could see some positives. I love what Mario said during the week. That, you can come pick up your son, whatever. But yeah, for the future, I think that's great when he starts to flip the roster. For today, yeah, there could be some mixed feelings in the locker room right now. And that's why I said it depends who of those guys sees the field today.
Yeah, if the truth is, if you see a kid that, I hate to say it, but Kamari Rogers, you're not going to see the field unless he, like you said, John, unless he earned it in practice this week, right? And
yeah. I mean, as far as I know, he didn't do anything. It was his parents, which I don't think Mario would hold against him.
He's not right.
And so if he earns playing time, he will play. That's how Mario is, and he's been very steady with that. Like he's not just because the starter's struggling, he doesn't just switch. You got to earn it. And so if Kamari Rogers earns playing time, he'll play. And I think to answer your overall question, this is when culture change is hard, right? So we're going through it a little bit now, but I think. Frankly, guys walking out of practice, quitting in the middle of the season, they couldn't have been good in the locker room anyway, to be honest. Like, how is that? Like, it's like they were in there being a team player. Again, I want to separate Gil out because I don't think that applies to him. I think he was more looking for a landing spot and probably trying to get in the portal earlier to secure that.
He's a grad transfer.
Yeah, he's a grad transfer. He's in a little bit different spot. But when you have guys complaining about their playing time and not earning it in practice and, having those guys away from the team is probably a benefit. I don't think we were expecting that to get a lot of carries, especially with Cheney back, right? I can't remember the last time I saw Keyshawn on the field.
Is Parrish back, by the way?
I'm not sure. I was actually going to ask you guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I know early in the week Mario said it was looking good, but he always says that. He also said TBD was looking good. It's like, and we're all like, there's no way he's playing, right? And he's not. So who knows? But even then, like, I think you would probably see Stanley have gotten carries in front of Thad anyway. He's been more effective this year. So I don't think those are losses from a they were going to play standpoint. And frankly, getting people that aren't bought in away from the program, that's good. And it'll also, I feel like it'll galvanize some of the players that are there, because a lot of the ones that are there, they believe in what Mario's selling, and they're seeing their teammates not buying in. That's got to be frustrating for them too. I'm sure some of them are like, good riddance, get out, because like we're trying to do something here, and you guys are standing in the way, and you're
right.
If you have a few team members that aren't bought in, it can bring the whole team down.
I see this two ways, right? Obviously, the negative way and the positive way. The negative way being, well, the guys can kind of get into their shell, and at the end of the day, players know who Mario's talking about or talking to when he says things like this, right? So you can do one of two things. You can keep bitching and complaining, or you can take it as a challenge and be like, hold on a second. Okay, we know who I'm talking about, but I'm going to say, I'm not going to let my dad speak for me. I'm going to come out there and I'm going to kick some tail in practice. I'm going to show my teammates and my coaches that it's not just my parents or other people talking to try. I don't need anybody talking for me, right? I'm going to do the play, and it's going to lift their level of play. So it could work in the benefit, right? It could be like, okay, hold on a second. This is a little bit of a culture shock, right? Talk about culture. Now I know that this is for real, and he doesn't matter. However, I will say this. I have a coaching background. So, and it's happened to me before. I had a kid in a different sport, but I had a kid that was a pitcher on my team. Okay? Big, strong kid, right? He was a great pitcher on my team. But I had holes in my lineup. And the kid always used to tell me, Coach, let me hit, man. Let me just hit one game. Let me get in there and pinch hit for someone. And I would always say, no, man. Like, you're my number one, number two guy. I don't want you to pitch. And I know this happened because I was a pitcher in high school and in college, but I can hit a little bit. So nobody gave me a shot. So one day he officially got pissed off. And he didn't disrespect me, but he got pissed off. And he said, I want to hit. Let me hit BP. I let him hit BP. I was like, oh, it didn't look too bad. And then he didn't want to get that involved. He didn't get to that point, but he started talking crap. And I had to tell him, yo, chill out. A coach hears all that stuff. Right? A coach hears what the players and the parents are saying. And whether he puts it out there that he didn't let it affect him, right? He was just going to say, they can say whatever they want. I'm going to keep doing my thing. It's still in the back of your mind. It's still in the back of your head. So what happened for me, I put that kid in the lineup, and he never left. He never got out of the lineup. So maybe this is an opportunity that Mario says, okay, you want to talk crap? Get in there. And it's sink or swim. You're either going to play hard and you're going to make some plays, or you're going to show me why you're not in the lineup. And I think players are going to end up doing that to themselves. So I think that's where this goes. And you need to do that in order to change this culture.
Well, and that's why he said, what he said, which we all, I think, laughed at. But the reason he used that phrase that you can come pick your child up is because they're treating them like children. They're over 18, they're in college.
Right.
If they got a problem playing time, go talk to your position coach. Like you said, keep that under.
Exactly.
So when the parents started acting as if we're like talking about like Pee-wee football, it's like, fine, go pick your son up then. Because obviously you wouldn't do that. He's an adult. He can handle his own travel, right? It's just it's pointing out how ridiculous they're being by even like trying to get involved in that, right? Like, dude, we're in college. Like, what are you doing?
No, I agree.
And I think that is why he phrased it that way. It's kind of to show how stupid it was. Like, it's what anyone not playing, if they're not at least a little bit in the back of their head thinking, man, I wish I was out there, then there's something wrong with them, right? So I have no issues if he went to a guy and was like, hey, man, what do I need to do? Because we've actually had other players talk about, Knighton talked about how, like, he knew he had to carry the ball better because obviously he was fumbling a ton, right? And he talked about how he worked on his technique carrying it and re-earned the coach's trust. Leonard Taylor in there said he wasn't playing well. He talked to the coaches, got feedback on what he needed to do better, worked on it, started playing a lot better, started getting in the lineup. Like, that's the correct way to handle it. And we don't know what Kamari Rogers is doing behind the scenes. We just know what his parents did publicly. So hopefully he's still doing the right thing, and he's looking at his parents like, what are you doing? Right? Because that could also be –
chances are.
Certainly he hasn't said anything, and he hasn't left. So you don't know with these things, right?
The hilarious part was the media backlash that Mario got. I'm looking at these articles. There's a couple different ones saying Miami football's dead because of what he said. Like a couple like headlines were saying that, and I'm like, first of all, really now they're dead? You could have picked any time in the last 20 years to say it. There was a lot of embarrassing losses, but anyway, it's like, wait a minute. He's preaching accountability. He's preaching earning your playing time. How is that a bad thing? Like, it just shows the media bias to me that's been going on since he got hired because Miami handled it the wrong way with Manny. And anytime you watch a Penn State game, the announcers spend 45 minutes talking about how amazing Manny Diaz is, and it's like, did I miss something? Like, we were the worst tackling team in America when he was here. But anyway, whatever. I don't want to go down that road. But yeah, no, I just wanted to mention that. And also, one other thing about the culture change that you mentioned, this is eerily similar to when Butch took over in 95. When Dennis Erickson had a lot of success. That 94 team, the year before, they went to the national championship game. And, the very next year, we didn't look so good in 95 and then 96. 97, we went 5-6. Granted, we were going through sanctions. But it was Butch and Dennis Erickson were polar opposites. And it's like very similar to the regime change that happened now. So just throwing that out there again for the millionth time, be patient, people.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it's gonna take some time to cycle some of this out. But yeah, I think the other thing is Manny came from media. He's got a lot of friends there, and
Good point.
I think that's carrying a lot of weight, especially nationally. He worked at ESPN. Like, they know him. So I think some of that stuff comes into play as well when these things happen. But I mean, the reality is he knew he was getting fired the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And
so he did what he had to do.
Yeah, well, he went on a propaganda campaign that he thought he could somehow force his way back in, which was we were obviously just waiting for Oregon's season to end. I don't know.
And if on 4th and 14 someone knocked that ball down, he could still be our coach right now.
I know. That's
like
anyway,
it almost worked.
I think it would still be tough just because we fired the athletic director. I think there was a lot of rot in there they were cutting out either way.
Yeah, good point.
If they knew they could get Mario, which they did, then I think it was going to happen. I think that was the big thing.
I agree. All right, as we finish this off, give me one. Excuse me, sorry. Now
I know it's all live, so you just gotta we don't have cough button down here, but
keys to the game. Give me one key to the game. We'll start with you, John, on what Miami needs to do to win this game.
Run the ball effectively, but in addition to that, Jakari Brown needs to make a little magic. He needs to not only make some plays with his legs, like running the ball, but also keeping plays alive and finding a wide open guy. He's got to do that, I think, on more than one occasion today for us to have a chance.
Vish, what do you got?
Defense. I'll go defense since I went offense. Just not give up a play over 20 yards. Keep everything in front. Make them drive the ball. They're a high mistake team, but an explosive team. So if we limit the chunk plays, basically how people played us when Van Dyke was playing, we're moving the ball up and down the field, not scoring. That's how we got to play defensively. Just limit the big plays.
I'm going to say, the obvious one is turnovers, right? Capitalize off of turnovers. But for me, I think that in order for Miami to play, Jakari Brown is going to have to make some big throws down the field. And obviously the wide receiver is going to have to, make plays as well. But if he can make some plays down the field and we can keep this close, I think we've got a shot. Look, again, I said it. Clemson is a hell of a team, right? They deserve where they're at. Number 9 in the country. They've beaten some really good teams. And they lost.
Notre Dame blew them out, yeah.
That's right. A couple weeks ago.
Notre Dame blew out Clemson and North Carolina, and those are both their only loss.
Right. So, if we could kind of keep it close, make some errors on offense, get some get some turnovers. But Jakari, for me, it's Jakari Brown. Jakari Brown's going to have to figure it out. That's really it. By the way, less than 3 minutes to go, and Florida's losing to Vanderbilt, although they just scored a touchdown right now. There's 3 minutes left, and Vanderbilt's up 31-20. That's eventually 25, 31-25. So,
Yeah. He missed the extra point.
No, he missed the extra point.
31-24. Never mind.
31-20. Wow.
No, you jinxed him.
All right, good.
Good. Why don't you go and say they're going to win? So.
Nope, not going to say anything else. That's it. I'm done with my jinx for the day.
You couldn't use it on Miami. You had to use it there.
We're going to have some Shirley Temples and non-alcoholic daiquiris now.
Yeah.
So, but Evan, we'll see you here soon, man. Thank you, everybody that's watching. Make sure you tune in for the post game.
We'll see how that goes. We'll see if we're still here and like the game is that competitive.
if
Maybe
we're
there'll be
still
a post game. We might file out at halftime like we've been doing.
And if we win, you might not get a post game anyway.
Well, no, if we win, there will be a post game, even if it's just us screaming into the camera.
Shit show.
Some of us may go missing if we
Yeah,
win.
that's a strong possibility. All right, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in. Go Canes.
The 6 Rig King Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig King Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings King Show. You know.